Welcome to Not Guilty, Lawyers, Guns, and Money.
Hello and welcome back to Not Guilty, Lawyers, Guns, and Money with Edward D. Johnson III, founding attorney of Edward Johnson & Associates, PC. Recognized as one of Illinois' top criminal defense attorneys, Edward has built a reputation for fighting hard in court and helping clients reclaim their lives when the case is over. I'm Kevin Rosenquist, and today we're talking about expungement. What does it really mean to clear your record, and who's eligible in Illinois? Edward, good to see you.
Good to see you, Kevin.
So when people reach out asking if they can clear their record, what kind of situations are they typically dealing with?
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, I want to clear my record. Now, if you're in Colorado, it's not as easy. In Illinois, fantastic place to clear your record. And I think that that's important to know the distinction. Different states, different rules. And it's really a unique situation for Illinois that they allow you to expunge completely any non-conviction off your record and your arrest record. It's huge. It's a big advantage, helps with getting jobs, helps with getting credit, anything that you could imagine. They're running your name. These things are showing up, even if you didn't get charged. If you were just arrested, released. But if you went, found not guilty, boom, you can get that off your record without a doubt. And it's super important to do. But there's also, other situations where people are calling me, they had a little bit of a drug addiction and they had a drug case, but they did this probation that you're allowed to get off your record once a set amount of time passes. Now, that's like a great situation for us because we can get involved. We can help them with the filing. We'll keep all the records, and then we'll do a hearing for them in front of a judge to get it expunged off the record. And it's really, especially in Cook County, it's really turned into quite the production, but the results, are as good as it gets. And expungement means completely remove your name from a criminal record and the record number, expunge it. I think that's really explains kind of what happens. There's still a case, but your name's not attached to it is the best way.
So how does record sealing differ from that?
So the record sealing is just not going to allow anyone to see what exactly happened in the case. So if they're trying to get additional Freedom of Information Act, those types of things, you're covered. Okay. Anything that they're trying to get, they want to know exactly what happened, or it's kind of like they take everything in the case, put it in a bag, then they seal it, and you can't get into it. Kind of like an evidence bag. They put duct tape over it, put it in the file thing, and it'll still show it's your case, but nobody can get into that area and get into that case. And that's the difference. Expungement, they take that same envelope, take your name off it, put it back. So your name's not even associated with it. Sealing, your name's still on there, but no one can get into the nuts and bolts of the case.
What types of cases make someone eligible for expungement, or maybe I should say outcomes make someone eligible for expungement, and which ones don't?
So it all depends on how the legislation's passed everything. Right now, currently, in Illinois, you're allowed to do this thing called court supervision. And court supervision is basically a probationary period that once you're complete, it ends the case, and it just kind of leaves it there, and it doesn't give you a conviction. So it's kind of like a non-judgment at the end of the case. And then you can file an expungement. That's pretty much, it's the pivot of Jordan. You get court supervision, pass the ball to Jordan, file the expungement. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things where that's exactly what they're for. They kind of help each other. There's also different types of programs within Cook County that are fantastic. There's a seed program, which if you get into that, let's say you get caught with some sort of drug possession and you're eligible for that, they'll usually be people between 18 and 27. There are exceptions, but it's a great program, and you'll have to, they'll put you in work placement. They'll do all these things, help you with schools. And once you complete that, then you can get that expunged off your record. And that's a felony. It's not really court supervision, but it's through a program. And then they have task probation, which is a drug oriented one where you have drug addiction and you go through all those different extensive probation or intensive probation, they call it, where you're doing constant drug drops, you're doing other things. They have you in counseling daily, and you're just doing great. Once you finish, yes, you can expunge that too. There's a statute called 417 that falls into the realm. It's a little bit not as intensive as task, but it's definitely another program. It's the 14's the 417 is the actual statute that allows it. So it's really, there's a lot of different cases that are eligible for it. And if you're not sure, you should know that like before you do a plea, because you need to know what you're agreeing to that you've worked out with your attorney, and you need to have that in writing, or you need to know exactly what the disposition of your case is and what the timeline is for when you can seal it and when you can expunge it. And that's been, here, the most important part. Like, sure, your case is over, but like, it's really over once your name's removed off it and we can expunge everything. And that's what we do a really good job. I have a lot of staff we do expungements all day and seal all day, just because people want somebody who's professional, that's organized, that can absolutely clear everything up, and they'll have the paperwork, because once it's expunged, there's no other record of it. So you need somebody to kind of have it, because you never know if you're trying to do an international visa or you're doing something where they still might want to know what the disposition of that case was, and to have an attorney that has those records, they can easily get them, send them out to you. We do that. And we keep everything digital, so it's super easy, but you can keep your own records yourself. You can expunge it yourself too, but sometimes people want, professional to do it.
Side note, I love a good Jordan Pippen reference. Nice.
Oh yeah, any chance I get. I just think about that. It really is. I think court supervision is only in there for it to be expunged. That's what it all is. You can't do traffic anymore. You used to be able to. Any DUI, there's certain classifications of cases like DUI. They're going to keep track of those. Like, you can't get your name off those, because they want to know how many you've had, and if you have a drinking problem. It makes sense. And with any serious like sex case, where there's ever sexual charges, right? That stuff's not coming up unless you're found not guilty. Then boom, right? But if you get supervision in something or whatever those convictions are, you're not getting it. We do a lot of expungements for people trying to restore their firearms rights. So we'll do appeals. We'll do certain things like that. And those expungements, when you get those, then all of a sudden they're getting their licensing back. They're able to carry, and they're able to purchase firearms again in Illinois. But it's really strict. You're in Colorado, so I think it's like you can get guns at a gun show over there. It's not even.
Oh yeah, it's a lot different here. So from the gun perspective, it is a lot different. Yeah, in a lot of ways, it's very similar, but definitely different from the gun perspective.
But they keep track of that stuff, and when it comes to expungements, getting those licensing, sometimes it's too hard to navigate by yourself. So you should give us a call. We can help everybody.
Sure. Now, is it true that that even like a dismissed case can show up on a background check?
Yeah, it is true. And if someone's telling you
how is that? That seems weird to me.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, there's actually, like, in most states, they have like a mandatory. We have like a leads database, which is like a legal database that keeps track of everything. There's like a receipt with your name, with all your stuff on there, every time you've been pulled over, any sort of investigation against you, whether you've done jail time, whether you haven't. There's mugshots. There's a whole different gambit of a background that I don't think people are really aware of that exists. Mm-hmm. That normally, if you run a background check on somebody for employment, you're not getting access to this. This is like the law enforcement one, and then the most extensive is the FBI record.
Wow, so that's crazy to me.
Yeah, they'll show all of it. Yeah, and you'd be surprised at how many things are on there that you could easily.
Wait a minute, what are you saying?
No, you're like, I didn't know that. Like, if you got a warning ticket, like in Florida, they have a live tracking lead database where they actually, if you get pulled over for like warning tickets and speeding tickets, then they know, like, we pulled you over like 2 days ago on the same road, and my other officer gave you a warning, like, which I disagree with, right? Like, there's stuff now, they're all communicating. So anything you can do and be aware of, you can expunge that stuff off too, because they're running your name, they're doing it. And we ran into it where now with your license plates, they're associated with it. They're going to check your like direction of travel. They're going to know where you're going on all these license plate scanners. And, and then they pull you over for a cash forfeiture situation, right? Lo and behold, they're going to see all these other convictions that came in, and they're going to say, maybe this money's associated with that, even if it was 20 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
The stuff can come back in expungement, and really, if you don't do it, be a problem.
Right. So as far as background checks go, probably a lot of people be interested to know about that. Do employers, landlords, and background check companies, do they see an expunged record at all, or is it just completely gone?
It's gone.
Okay.
You can't even find it in the computer. So
whereas if a record's sealed, you could see that there was something, but you can't access it. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly. In some instances, like now there's like different ways that there's certain databases that they check everything through, just the court system, which I think is unique to Illinois. Is like they actually have like a main county records department that's connected to like leads. But then what happens is like they take your name off it. And we get calls from people that I did expungements for like 10 years ago. And they're like, is my case expunged? Are you sure? Like, do you have paperwork? And I'm like, we do. But if you just type your name into this and it doesn't show up in it, that's how you know the expungement worked, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like there's nothing holding your name to this. And I think that's like the best, since like the technology's really picked up, has been the best benefit for just peace of mind. Just like it gives people a lot of anxiety, something that happened a while ago, or they're worried about it, and I know employers, they look at it, banks look at it. You're trying to get home loans and stuff. They see all these other criminal activity. It's going to hurt a lot of prospects for people. But I think, educating them about it and calling us, we have such a great department that just specializes in it. It's really important.
Yeah, especially, I mean, if you maybe got in trouble in the past and you've turned your life around and stuff, you just want it gone. I mean, you just don't want it associated with you anymore.
Right? It's like, it's changed. And your brain hasn't fully developed. Let's say you get in trouble when you're like 18, 20 years old. Like, I had no idea what I was doing at that age.
Yeah.
I mean, not now, but I'm just kidding. But, most of it is really about being charged, knowing what's going on, knowing what your record is, cleaning it up, building a family, building a lifestyle, and this is the best part about Illinois. I think that they have this program. Colorado, there's nothing to get stuff off your record.
Really?
No matter what. Yeah. And so if you get in trouble here, it's kind of like, all right, well, mistakes happen. You have that benefit. Why not use it?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So how long does the overall process take to get it expunged?
It takes, from when we file it, it's a 6-month period. Isn't it crazy how long that takes? And they're trying to get it. We've talked to the chief judge. It's just slow. There's so many people doing it. There's just a wild amount of people without attorneys doing it, which like kind of slows it down. But now the state's attorney who's in charge, Burke, is requiring that they have hearings for all these expungements. So that's a new thing. And that's where I think it's just completely bogged down the system.
Yeah.
And it's really caused more problems. Like Kim Fox was in, and we were filing them, getting them not objected, and maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we were getting expungements back, filed, boom, boom, boom. And that was great. Then they started objecting to all these by public policy arguments, which is, I disagree with. That's a whole different podcast, but we can talk about that one later. But it's created that problem. So what will happen is you file an expungement, let's say by yourself, you get in there, they're going, all right, why should we grant you this expungement? And there's certain criteria. If you're not educated towards that, if you're not ready for it, you're gonna have to come back. It's gonna be another 6 months. Or, there's certain things that just delay it. But the judge is making a determination whether now they think it's for the better good of the community to like release these records. And it wasn't like that 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. They were just, is it eligible or not? Boom, boom, boom. So it's created a whole different like maze to kind of go through, and people are struggling, and we're the ones to talk to about it. I do it all the time. So, but it's stuff you don't really think about. Kind of just changed with the state's attorney in the whole county, which is we're 5.6 million, 5.3, 5.6 million people here. It really is a lot of expungements. So they're 6 months out now.
What would be a reason that it would get denied.
Sometimes they make these determinations. Let's say, like there was a shooting or something that you were found not guilty. That's fine. That's coming off. That's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about like, well, you got court supervision for this battery, but it was like 6 months ago and you got arrested again. They'll be like, what? I think we should wait a little longer. The judge will be like, why don't you refile, and not right now, 5 years from now or something, to see like how you're doing. But we get a lot of people from like the 90s that, were racially profiled, which is nonsense. And they would get picked up for like little cases that were just arrests that show up like maybe like street gambling or like buying penny cigarettes. It's like really bad what that they did in certain areas. And those all get cleared up. They're not objecting to those, but it's more of these like there's other victims involved. They'll contact people, which is it's creating quite the delay.
Yeah, it seems that way. I mean, you mentioned that it can be really tough when trying to handle this on your own, the paperwork and all that stuff, not knowing what they're getting into. I mean, this seems like one that would be, I don't know, like a no-brainer to hire an attorney to me. I don't know why. Do people really try to do this on their own?
Yeah, they do it on their own. You used to be able to. They used to have like no fee filing expungements where you could do it and they file it. But now the state's attorney is objecting. And the why it's so important to have an attorney though is like what we're doing is we're going to kind of do a deep dive with you just in your life, tell your narrative. And we do that, in the criminal aspect cases as well too. So we're all set up for it in that same process where we're getting to know, we call it like a mitigation letter, but it's just like we get all these letters of reference, we get your resume, we like, explain to the judge who you are, what you're doing, what you need this for, why this is hindering you. And you'll know, like you asked me, like what other agencies, like what issues with employment, like, you're having these problems. And you can get those letters. That like helps you. Like if you get denied, it's like, oh, make sure you pull that in because you can tell the judge, like, look, they're denying my packet here that I need this off. And it all matters. And so we have a really good intake process with all our clients. We get to tell their story to the judge, and we've been really successful.
Yeah, I'm glad. It sounds like at least Illinois is sensitive to that in people that, hey, doesn't necessarily just because you did something years and years ago doesn't mean you have to be dinged for it your entire life.
But Lake County too. Lake County's doing hearings for it. All the big counties have made it a little bit more difficult. So an attorney, it's really expanded our business. And a lot of people realize that and they're hiring us.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for listening to Not Guilty, Lawyers, Guns, and Money with Edward D. Johnson III of Edward Johnson and Associates, PC. If you're ready to move forward, find out whether your record can be cleared, visit edwardjohnsonlaw.com. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Leave us a review. We definitely appreciate it. Always great seeing you, Edward. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Kev.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.